I have been hiding one of my bikes from you, keeping it away from this channel. Not because I don't like it. It's actually my most capable bike. And it's about time I finally showed you. Hey everybody, welcome back to Village Bike Kitchen. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a bike I'm going to show you that I've been wanting to show you for a long time, but I've been too nervous to do it. That's a little silly, it's just a bike, but it's not exactly the type of bike that you've all fallen in love with on this channel. An old charity shop rescue, a 90s bike, something that needs a lot of love. This one's a little different. Dude, let me just show it to you and you guys can decide on your own. So here it is. This is my Breezer Thunder. It's a modern rigid steel mountain bike, and you can kind of see that it's not exactly the sort of bike that I've always shown you on the channel, but I think there's enough redeeming qualities about it that will make it worth it. So let me give you a close-up of this bike, and I'll talk about why I'm showing you this bike and what we're going to do with it today. This is my Breezer Thunder. I wasn't sure I was ever going to put it on the channel, because this channel has featured neglected bikes, simple bikes, old bikes, and bikes that need a little help. But this Breezer is not really like that. It has modern geometry, hydraulic disc brakes, 29-inch tires, and a dropper post. So what's this bike doing here today? Well, I decided it belongs. It's still a steel mountain bike after all, and even though it is modern, it comes from the same tradition as the first mountain bikes. Breezer was started by Joe Breeze, one of the people who created mountain biking as we know it today. In that sense, this bike might be the most retro bike that I own. And besides, this channel is not just about old bikes. It's about caring for bikes, fixing them, making them better, than riding them. And this bike needs some help. So here's the problem. About a year ago, I decided to upgrade the crankset and bottom bracket on this bike. And I made a mistake. I installed the bottom bracket without one of the required spacers for this frame's 73mm bottom bracket shell. The bike still worked, I rode it sometimes, but it was never quite right. The chain line's been off, the shifting is always a little bit annoying, and I kept trying to adjust around a problem that I had actually built into the bike myself. So today, I'm finally gonna fix it. This used to be my go-to bike. Before this, I rode a full suspension bike and had a lot of fun on it. But over time, I started realizing that I liked simpler bikes more. And this bike could do everything I needed. Stock parts were fine, but little by little, I started upgrading things. Eventually, I got around to replacing the heavy stock crankset, and I really thought that was going to be one of those upgrades that changed the whole bike. And really, it would have been, if I had done it right. When I installed the new bottom bracket and cranks, something was really wrong. The bike shifted badly, it made noise, and the chain line even looked off. I adjusted the B tension, I adjusted the limit screws, I messed with the cable tension. I tried convincing myself it was the derailleur or the hanger, something. But it wasn't. I had installed the bottom bracket wrong. By the time I realized this was the problem, I had already started avoiding the bike. I kept telling myself I'd get around to it, but every time I went for a ride, I just picked a different bike. So today, I'm finally pulling it apart, putting the spacer where it should have been in the first place, and trying to finally complete this upgrade. So here's what I didn't know. My bike has a 73mm bottom bracket shell. The bottom bracket I bought is compatible with either 68 or 73mm bottom bracket shells, but you need to use the right spacers in the right places depending on which shell you have. In my case, I need one 2.5mm spacer on the drive side. I'm not sure how I missed this the first time around. This stuff is a little confusing, and I think I just got a bit turned around at the time. Either way, that tiny missing spacer makes a huge difference, so it's time to fix it now. I think part of my confusion was that the crankset kit also came with its own spacers. When I was reading about how to do this, I probably thought that because the crankset provided spacers, they would take the place of any bottom bracket spacer. These spacers are also about the same width as a bottom bracket spacer, so I figured 2 of them together is 5mm, and that gets you from your 68 to your 73mm shell. The problem is, 73mm bottom brackets already account for 1 spacer, and I didn't install it. So here's the chain line after adding the spacer, and to me it looks pretty good. That went surprisingly well, but when I was working with the bike, I noticed another issue that had to be fixed right now. When I squeezed the lever, I got almost no stopping power. That meant the brake needed a bleed. I really did not feel like attempting a whole bleed, so I cheated a little bit. Instead of bleeding the whole line, I wanted to see if there was just some air bubbles trapped at the top of the lever. I opened it up, worked the lever a bit, and tried to burp out any bubbles sitting at the top of the system. I managed to make it a little better, and the brake feels responsive again, so I'm going to call it good. You can see a bubble rise here when I squeeze the lever. That's exactly what we're looking for. That might have been my most hassle-free maintenance session I've ever had on live video. That was awesome. Fixed the bottom bracket. Even had time to bleed the rear brake. So let's go take this thing for a ride. I'm going to wait a couple hours till the sun starts setting and get some nice shots of the bike out at sunset. If you want to stick around for that, please do, and I'll see you out there. All right, let's do it. With the bike back together, it was time for the test ride.
This grass is usually not this high.
And the timing was kind of perfect because my brother-in-law just got to town, which meant I could bring him and one of my other bikes along too. So I was on the Breezer and he was on the Marin Palisades, the single speed.
Yeah, turn left, and this will be our hill.
A modern steel bike and an old steel mountain bike out together on a quiet evening ride. The plan was pretty simple. Take the Breezer out, check the shifting, make sure the brake felt better, and see if the bike finally felt like it should. But pretty quickly, I sort of forgot this was supposed to be a test ride. The evening was just too nice. We weren't riding hard for the most part, except this hill here. We weren't trying to prove anything. We were just moseying around, following lanes and tracks, enjoying the light, and letting the ride happen. And honestly, that's probably the best sign that the repair worked. Because I stopped thinking about the bottom bracket, I stopped listening for weird noises, I stopped worrying about the chain line. The bike just felt like a bike again. And once that happened, the test ride turned into exactly the kind of ride I'd been missing on this bike. The Retro single speed ended up being the perfect bike for my brother-in-law. He doesn't ride that often and isn't used to gears, so I had the perfect bike for a nice evening out for him. Eventually I did remember to check my actual repair work, and from what I can tell, everything seems to be working just fine. Eventually, we ended up at a pub, which of course was not part of the test, but if a repaired bike can carry you through a sunset ride and accidentally to a pub, I think it's safe to say the bike works again. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time. So there's the house. I filmed out here before. I want to show you this little secret area I've been filming this video on, and I've never actually filmed back here. And this is actually where, when I saw it when we moved in, that I said, hey, I'm gonna be Village Bike Garden. And it's a perfect spot to film. It's quiet, there's plenty of space. But what I underestimated was, this is England, and it gets dark in the winter at like 3 o'clock. It's always windy, it's always rainy, and I needed a more stable place that I could film whenever I wanted. So we ended up in the kitchen, which is that big window right there. So just thought I'd give you guys a little behind the scenes.